There we go. Holy shit, that
Oh,
happened
wow.
really quick.
Wow. Yeah,
that never works.
That was sudden.
Got it.
Almost as sudden as tonight. We're going to what was this? 2020. That's right. I've done enough research. 2020. We're gonna talk about films. And tonight we'll be talking about a pretty fun one, I think, called Tenet. Nothing about renting an apartment. Nothing about being a landlord. Just kind of a weird thing. Instead, it's, here's the church, here's the steeple, open the doors, and here's the people. So you just same basic prospect, but you, hey, let's make a deal. So that's the movie pretty much in a nutshell. I enjoyed it. Let's go to our resident Christopher Nolan super fan.
Oh, geez.
Joe Inception Morgan. Why don't you rate and grade this movie?
Here we go. I have seen this movie probably 15 times.
Oh my God.
Since it came out.
How?
Wasn't even on my radar until Ben recommended it. Ben watched it before I did. Resisted it a little bit, finally put it on.
Finger pulse me.
First watch through. Got to the end and kind of didn't know what happened. I was like, wait, what? Then watched it compulsively for a number of weeks.
Sounds about right. That's prestige for me.
Trying to keep track of everything that was going on. First watch through grade, probably a C. Being a connoisseur now, definitely an A.
An A. Wow.
Definitely an A.
All right.
Lots and lots of this movie were done really well. The lead is not my favorite.
Mr. Washington, John David Washington.
His name is protagonist in this movie.
To really contrast with my previous stance on Pattinson and his acting.
That's pretty good.
I think he might have been a better lead.
In the research I did, so fun facts before we get to Russ, just a couple of things to throw out to give you the kind of scope of how much thought was put into this movie. This is an idea Christopher Nolan has had for 20 years. He spent 6 years actually writing the screenplay, getting it ready, and then him and his wife were the producers. They are going to control it and bring it to the screen. They immediately call their collaborator for casting, and they start working out long lists of people they want to cast with the idea that the co-starring roles are going to be bigger names than the main role because it's going to be disorienting. So that's by design.
Interesting.
By design.
Probably
although there are 2 children in this movie of famous actors. Do you know who they are?
No.
Well, we'll get to that. Russ, how many times have you seen this movie?
Once.
You did not feel a compulsory second watch through?
No.
Wow. Well, go ahead and get this out of the way then.
There it comes.
Yeah. Can you ruin my night? Go ahead and say some words.
Some words.
Everything that we pick on Inception for.
Mm-hmm.
I like Inception. I think it's easy to pick on that movie because it's ridiculous in so many ways. And that movie did take me more than one watch to appreciate it for what it was. But the first time I watched it, I probably had given it a B, given I was confused. This movie going into it, I was like, all right, it's going to be Inception again. And it was and it was just
And
too
yet
much.
it
for me.
wasn't.
It was too fucking much.
Oh, it was Inception times
It
10.
was
It was
all-
Inception on LSD.
Yeah,
No.
it was all the things that you could like or not
I don't
like
believe that's the
about
case.
about Inception.
You didn't
Um,
give the word. It has to be combined with the word.
the thing that really did it in for me on like I just can't like this movie was the end battle with all the guys running backwards. I just found it so fucking stupid. And the movie's a C. I did not want to watch it again at all. And I thought that if I did watch it again, I would maybe like it more because it's a confusing movie. But I just really didn't want to watch it again.
I can see that. Like, I'll admit that after the first time I watched it, a watch through wasn't appealing because coming in raw, it's hard. They don't do a really
That's what
good
she said.
job of providing the context. Like, they absolutely lay it on the viewer to keep up.
Agreed.
I did
Agreed.
ask myself at the end of it because I was expecting the movie to be hard and everything. So I tried real hard to pay attention. I rewound a lot. I asked myself at the end, did I not like this movie because I didn't understand it? And the answer was no. I do think that I got it, even though I'd probably
There's
get
no way.
more. I'd
There's
probably
no
get
fucking
more.
way you got it.
No,
There's
no,
no way.
I think there's nuances that I would get more of and probably appreciate more if I watched it on another watch through. But did I get the overall plot and like all the crazy shit? If I didn't, I rewound that part and I watched it again. Yeah, I did not want to watch it
Robert
again.
Pattinson is at the end? Is it the one that's been inverted and come out of inverted? No, let's not even get into it.
I mean, do you want
Okay.
to? I've got
No,
notes.
I want to rate and grade
I've
this
got
movie, and we'll
notes.
move to more stuff. We'll delve back into that. But you know, if tenets are important to you, then you may want to pay attention. The first time I watched this movie, I thought really interesting. I want to see the parts where you can tell where they're reversing. Where is the little things coming from? And I, you know, much like Inception, thought, all right, I'll just suspend my disbelief that this fucking room that turns that you walk out of is how you're going to go backwards in time. Absolutely asinine. But I watched it. I probably watched another 4 times, I want to say, within 2 months or so, trying to get it. And eventually I was just like, no, it's a good movie, but you know, it's a little too much. This time watching it, I kind of just watched it like it's a spy flick. I kind of just watched it for the overall story without trying to figure anything out. It's got a lot of really cool, fun things, a lot of really amazing sets. I think as a movie to just kind of watch and not try and figure out, it's almost more fun than trying to get it. I would give this movie a B plus. I definitely recommend it and say that I enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoyed just having fun watching it on this round. Like when he does I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago. Like I was like, oh yeah, it totally ad-libbed that line and it works so well. Yeah. So one of the two, before we get into the wad too deep, one of the two famous child actors, or the actor who is a child from a famous actor, is the lead, John David Washington.
Interesting.
Denzel Washington's son. No lie.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have pegged that.
Right. So definitely, you know, Dad maybe should have spent a little bit more time with him because you
I mean, the
look at
beard's on
Denzel
point.
Washington compared to this guy, and it's like you're decent, but I mean, come on, that's Denzel Washington.
He's
I mean,
not
the
bad
beard's
at
on
all.
point. His best acting is the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
When he kills
Absolutely.
Priya,
No, when he's having the conversation with Pattinson's character.
I actually liked him before he found out
Oh.
all the stuff and he was just a military agent.
the beginning. He's
Yeah.
kick ass in the beginning. Yeah,
I
that's
thought he was really good there.
the beginning really gripped me because I remember following in the news the O2 Moscow Opera House thing. Like this is based almost on something that really happened, where people took over this full opera house. They pumped in this knockout gas and then didn't fucking move fast enough, and 204 people died because they got knocked out by this strong ass knockout gas. So that's such a striking story to me. It always stuck with me. So when I saw this, when I watched it, I was like, oh shit, he's kind of trying to ground this in modern day. And this feels like maybe it could be real. And then a bullet goes backwards and it starts to be a little weird.
Dude, so much. Like right out of the gate. They wasted no time in putting you on the back foot. Absolutely no time. I mean, the fact that this guy comes out of taking a cyanide pill and glosses right over that explanation and then puts him on some friggin' fucking wind farm in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what is happening right now?
But that beginning was dynamite, though, right? When they see which truck shows up first, and they're all these patches, put them on. I love the way it was executed.
Opening sequence compared to the closing sequence. If you watch
Right.
it again, you see the correlation.
Yeah,
They absolutely drop right out of the gate. They're like, this is shit you're not gonna catch on the first watch.
to me, this movie is like an AIDS ribbon. It's like this. You eventually meet right here and you come back around. But the movie follows through one point and then you hit the terminal point and then you come back and they intersect. And it's
also be referred to as a Mobius ribbon. But that's just me.
No.
That's just me.
No. June 1st is coming and it's keep the focus on it.
Right on.
Not eradicated yet.
Hearing your review makes me want to kind of clarify. I actually agree with everything you said. The story's really cool. If you're just interested in figuring stuff out, it's good. The shit that annoyed me that just made it hard for me to watch was how they showed the time travel elements on the screen. Like if they just left it more of an elusive talking point, I would have enjoyed that way more than the classic Christopher Nolan, just like, let's do weird CGI that no one's thought of before.
Now, another fun fact, 0 CGI in this movie.
Weird
practical effects. He would shoot the scene backwards and forwards so that he could dub in the way he needed to do. Dude, when she's like, you have to have dropped it first in order for him to pick it up. And he's like, huh? And then boom. It's like, dude, come on. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, no, I mean the camera work and everything that they did in this was astounding. Again,
some great locales. The treasure vault in this, the whole treasure vault sequence, a fucking blast.
Literally.
Yeah. Purchase their own plane to crash. Russ, let me ask you this with your C. How many other movies show somebody getting hit in the face with a cheese grater?
I liked that.
Full letter grade right there.
You know what I don't like though about
the stack of plates? A full stack of plates to the face.
What I didn't like about that scene, and a lot of movies do it, I just find it annoying, is they emphasize how good he is at fighting by showing that he's not feeling a sense of urgency in his movement. He's just like, I'm gonna slowly walk out of this room, and if you come at me, it's such a burden, and I'll just fucking hit you with the cheese grater real quick.
Gives him swagger.
I hate that. I want to see him running like they do in the James Bond films, and they're actually chasing.
I can verify if you're gonna hit somebody with a cheese grater, you don't do it fast. You do that shit slow.
Dude, he's like walking and not even looking.
Everybody be Tom Cruise? No, they can't all be Tom Cruise. Not everybody's in a hurry to get there.
It's just loses any sense of realism to me once they start executing the film that way.
Well, and I wanted to go back to
I think
Ben's
it was
point.
the items inverted in time that really made me just stop trying to think the movie had anything real to say. That was my cutoff where I said, "Oh, it's."
If you want to say it's based in science fiction, that's fine. But a real person would be like, just doesn't slowly walk away from an explosion. Like, cool guys don't look at explosions is a meme for a reason. That's what he was doing.
I mean,
Dude,
you don't
that's-
ever see Tom
that's
Cruise
all
walking
factual.
away from an explosion. He's running from that motherfucker.
That's right.
But
Whatever, say whatever you want. It was stupid.
Well, but to speak to Ben's comment about this being a good movie for a watch through, if you're just not trying to figure it out, I agree. I think it's an excellent whodunit movie.
Yeah.
Like connecting the dots and the time frames and whatever with if you just ignore the science behind the time travel, if you just sign off on the things traveling back through time.
I didn't
I agree with
mind
Russ.
any of that.
There was a little bit too much of the footage run in reverse for regular scenes, right? Like the boat crossing scene when they've got the dude's wife that she shot and they had to invert her to save her.
Right.
They're on the boat.
And it's showing the water going backwards.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Just some of that stuff could have been cut.
Right.
Was it really dynamic in the action sequences? The cars driving backwards on the freeway in conjunction with the cars moving forwards through time. Really well done. The conjunction of him being on that, how many times they showed that same scene from different angles.
Right. I think the pinnacle of that, again, is that treasure vault when he comes out of the turnstile and it's the same guy, one inverted, one going through regular time. And they encounter the previous selves, especially when they show Robert Pattinson like realize it and then immediately go to save his life.
Yeah.
I feel like that's some of the best inversion points.
Tons of points for that in this movie, but take out the obvious stuff. You know, you had plenty of it going on in plot building scenes. I didn't need a still of the bow of the ship. You know, or a sequence of the bow of the ship, or
I needed more doing pull-ups. I felt like, oh no, they're in there. That's right.
Yeah, no, they're in there. No diary though.
I didn't mind that
in his diary.
I didn't mind the boat one because it was like subtle. What bothered me was like movies got a good plot and I want to watch it and I want to figure it out. And I felt like that good plot was being constantly interrupted by Christopher Nolan just like splooging on screen and going like, how cool is this shit, guys?
Well, right, but it's like you talk about the end sequence, the battle sequence where you got the soldiers moving forward and backwards through time. And one of the scenes that stands out specifically, probably one of the biggest standout scenes for me in this movie that really encapsulated that concept was the building.
When it closes up on the dude?
Well, that one is good, but no, the building that was completely collapsed at the start.
Oh yeah,
and then,
he does that sequence really well too because it like comes back together where the bottom is the last one to implode.
Yes,
when it explodes, the top goes.
Yes,
no,
that was super well done. I was like, and it was probably only in the last 3 watch throughs that I noticed that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's a huge turning point in that battle. And it was coordinated between both time frames, both moving forward and backwards.
Yeah.
To blow up the same building.
Right.
It was like, that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Some thought went into that shit.
Yeah. The idea of being able to orchestrate a temporal pincer movement like that is a great idea. Would be really hard to execute, I feel like. But even when Branagh is like, tell me exactly what happens the whole time, it's because he's about to go back through it and then he wants to know exactly how it's going to happen step by step. That's smart. Casting Kenneth Branagh on this movie, was that smart? I don't know. Let's get to the wad and discuss it. So written and directed, just like most of our movies, Christopher Nolan did both. We've talked about Christopher Nolan.
He has to direct the movies. He's right. Otherwise, it's not a Christopher
Nolan
vision.
He's like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Exactly.
It's not smart enough.
Well,
so
there is
Daniel Day-Lewis that ass.
there is something we can say about Christopher Nolan real quick.
I would
Ben?
love to be able to discuss the Tenet with Christopher Nolan.
There it is.
Well-
there it is. Finally done right.
I'm gonna ask Joe actually. Joe, is this movie more or less plausible than Inception?
Less plausible than Inception. Actual time
Oh,
travel
shit.
versus a brain.
What's the fucking Xbox involved in this one where they keep going a different consciousness with a new fake
Dude.
Xbox conscious?
a room that rotates and you go back through
Hey,
time?
Right. The roundabout is absolutely just. Are you
Versus
fucking
an
kidding me? This is how you invert shit.
LSD
Is you
created
through a roundabout?
hallucination.
No, I wrote
Yeah,
that this versus Inception, there's no really cool spinning hallway fight, although there kind of is the fight and the thing, but it doesn't spin. Whereas this movie, not completely unbelievable.
This unfucking real. I can't believe you guys. I'm so done. I'm so
No,
done. Why do I
agree.
even come to this fucking show every week?
All
I
right.
agree with Joe. This movie's bullshit. Inception all day, every day.
All day, every day.
This is the
Well, it
first.
doesn't. Does it have somebody? Is Michael Caine in Inception?
No.
He puts
Is
him in
he?
a ton of movies. He's in this. I feel like this is one of the most frivolous uses of Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is.
Am
in
I wrong?
Inception. He's the instructor.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
right. He
okay.
introduces
Yep,
Ellen,
he's-
now Elliot Page.
Professor Stephen Miles.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
that-
Look at Joe's
That
leaving.
name rings a bell with you.
Joe's leaving. All right. Let's talk about the movies that are, or the people that are in this one. So yeah, Michael Caine, I felt like this was the most frivolous use of him.
I gotta confess, where's Michael Caine in this movie?
He talks to him in the restaurant. He tells him,
you're
yeah.
right. No, but dude, tell me he doesn't execute that role to perfection.
No, he's totally
Dude,
fine. It's
the
great. I
talking
really
with
love
his
the. Can
mouth
you wrap that
full.
up for me? Absolutely
that
not.
whole scene. No, that whole scene was done excellent. He gives him the card.
Like that could have been a lot of people, and like, yeah, I don't know.
No, but
Love Michael
no,
Caine.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been a lot of people because Michael Caine brings that to the role.
Je ne sais quoi.
You know, to
He is Alfred.
pass that card across the table and be like,
Is he?
you know, because
He's totally Alfred.
Brooks
Oh, yeah.
Brothers isn't gonna make the cut.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
Can I
I
recommend
thought-
it, Taylor?
Personally, that Tom Hardy was probably the best in this.
Tom Hardy's not in this.
Oh. Yeah, he is.
No.
Him and Leonardo DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Not in this.
Right.
You've
Oh,
been
that's
Inception.
Inception.
You've been
You've
Inception.
been Inception.
You've been
You know who is in this? Besides the main protagonist, I like that. Robert Pattinson. I really like him in this movie. I find his character to be very enjoyable. Their banter really good. I feel like he's not over the top. This is one of my favorite Pattinson. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I think this is actually shows a dynamic aspect to him as an actor. Having watched it as many times as I have, him having the awareness of his temporal relation to the main character.
Mm-hmm.
When you first see the first time that they meet, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're like, this guy's
Right.
super cagey.
Right.
And then after seeing the closing sequence
Yeah.
and putting it in context, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
And
His future, his past.
he brought some chops to the screen. I wasn't mad at his performance in this movie at all. In complete and ridiculous, absolutely black and white contrast to his performance in the Batman.
What? How did you feel
Batman.
about Kenneth Branagh? Like, I feel like Kenneth Branagh is, I don't know. He should be an amazing tour de force, and yet, like,
Was it
just remains very Kenneth Branagh-y in a lot of stuff.
It was. I feel like he probably could have made the role pretty good and pretty dynamic, and I feel like he showed up and just paid lip service. I don't think he was present.
He was in all the research I did, he was actually very into playing this movie. Really wanted to be in it, had read the script a number of times. Like, it's funny, there are people who read it and they're like, yeah, that's cool. And then there's people who were in it and just like studied it, trying to get a better grip. I almost feel like he studied too hard.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he tried to. Maybe that's what happened. Is like he was so familiar with the role that he disconnected himself from everybody around him.
Right. And just like you were saying about Pattinson with his temporal awareness to the main character, like Branagh never struck me as, he's got the one scene where he's going to get the case. But he, obviously, to me, he in the future traveled way back. You know what I mean? Like he did a 10-year stretch or some shit. I read it in the trivia and didn't even realize that when they show his younger self and he finds that package instead of plutonium, that's the note from the future people explaining their plan.
Yeah.
Never got that. Never. I had
that?
to read about it to be like, oh, okay. I guess.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that actually, probably not the first. The second watch there.
Interesting.
But now that you've said that and made the commentary, and now that we're talking about it, like I will give it to him as far as his on-screen performance. You never get the sense that you're dealing with him from different timelines.
No, it's all one timeline to him, even though it's not. Yeah,
1000% on the money. Every scene doesn't slip.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I could bring it up a little bit for that.
I feel like this time really rewarding is the scene where she shows him the scar and he realizes this isn't present day cat. This is a cat that I have already had dealings with. Even though it's in the future, like he gets it. Pretty good scene. Pretty good scene. Speaking of cat, Elizabeth Debicki.
What about Russ? Russ, I haven't said shit about friggin' Branagh.
Russ, what do you have to say about Master Thespian Kenneth Branagh?
Sometimes Ben just blows over. He like wants to get to his point so quickly that I feel like whatever. But I pretty much enjoyed every actor in the movie. I thought Kenneth Branagh was great, and he kind of just played the evil Kenneth Branagh guy that I'm used to. Like, I honestly don't feel like he tried very hard because he didn't have to.
The heart monitor reference was really good.
Yeah, I liked that.
My pulse rate was over 190 something.
Yeah, not even my wife. 135.
Yeah.
Not even my wife.
But I thought this was the best I'd seen Robert Pattinson. I did like Denzel Washington Jr. And
Denzel Jr.
I think Kenneth Branagh.
I bet she loves that shit.
I think Kenneth Branagh was pretty great. Like he embodied being that kind of Russian villain that you're used to seeing, or like Eastern Europe. But
that's fair. I mean, now that we're talking about it and I'm thinking back to some of his scenes, like the scene that they have where he's on the boat, he's like, I insist you stay with us, and kind of the penetration like into his.
Whoa. Wait, did you watch a different movie than I did? No penetration in this.
He watched the Tenet.
Oh, that's not true. He gets stabbed with he stabs himself with the lock picking tool. Anyway.
This is what I deal with, people.
Mm-hmm.
Inception's a bad movie, and this is what I deal with.
That's right. I'm with you so far.
Question for you guys, because you watched the movie more than me and picked up all the little nuances. At what point do they not have to wear the little oxygen mask anymore?
When they are moving through their native timeline.
When they're outside. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They should have to wear it the entire time they're inverted. Yes.
So it was the Robert Pattinson of the current timeline at the end. And any
Yes.
other time that you would have that question, it is ruined if they were not wearing the mask.
Hey, but remember when they go up the side of the building and they're all running?
He is actually wearing a mask.
That's-
If you think about it, though, like if you think about it, when he shows
If you
up
think
in the
about it, aren't we
opening-
all wearing masks?
This is
Absolutely every day.
true. 20. Welcome.
Put
to
on
the-
that smile.
welcome to COVID. When you think about it and you look back at the original opening sequence in the Opera House, he's got the full face goggles on,
Mhm.
which is probably a mask.
Which you don't find out that's him until the end.
Right. When he
Oh
is
my
the-
God.
Major,
Is it even him, though?
Major spoilers. The corpse.
Lots of
that
people have little
unlocks the
strings.
door. I didn't even catch that until the last 2 watch throughs.
Yeah. Yeah. He just stands up to stop the other guy from getting shot. Like
And
he
this-
literally, that's
and the framing, the way they frame
he's
that whole
zipping back
sequence-
and forth through time.
Right,
Yeah.
but the framing, like, so he stands up, gets shot, except he doesn't get shot because it's in reverse, and unlocks the door. And then the way they frame that whole sequence there at the end, he's like background noise.
Yeah.
It's fucking genius.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
really smart
so
because,
many.
This whole time he's ping ponging through time. And this is literally him at the very end. Like, well, here's what I got to go do.
Yeah.
Go forward, jump in here, boom, killed. Like he saves the day more
Yeah.
than once.
And they allude to it at the very last sequence. Is there anybody else that can unlock that door? Like, he knows.
Mhm.
He already knew.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean that's where this movie really excels, is on the Easter eggs, on the watch throughs. I think as time goes by, this thing's going to just continue to gain momentum and popularity.
No.
I
will
have a
not.
hard time finding any instances where they really drop the ball. Even
Yeah, except for
going
the
in-
breathing thing, which is a
even-
big one.
I mean, at the same time, though, when they take the oxygen mask off, they're in a contained environment. It's sheeted off. It's plastic.
Sometimes.
But they are still moving inverted.
Right, but they're in a bubble. They
But
gotta
I
come
mean,
through the bubble.
Yeah,
So-
see, like this,
you know,
it's
so
all
it's a
fucking
controlled
stupid.
environment.
Right,
No, I mean, if
right.
you watch it again.
No,
watch it, Russ.
I'm not saying that they didn't
Watch
surround
it.
themselves with plastic and that would like suddenly
Maybe
make
it's the
it all
plastic
okay.
that really does the trick.
Christopher
it just-
Nolan doesn't miss a beat. on
Does
those
he?
details.
I feel like he does. And again, it just felt like he wanted so bad to make it so complicated that I would have just preferred the Terminator way of just being like, goes back in time, stop him.
But that's not cool enough, dude. He's had a whiteboard. He's had an idea in his head for decades, and he's got it all mapped where he's like, here's where this dude actually goes back. And
Well,
then he's
on a level of
Pepe
keeping-
Silva.
he's on a level, because people criticized him so much for Inception, that he's on a level of
What?
bringing the science. Like your lungs are inverted. The oxygen molecules don't move through your lungs the same. You have to breathe inverted air.
Erroneous on both counts.
People criticized him for Inception, not with their wallets. They
These
didn't.
fucking
Yeah, no
assholes
shit.
on this show do, though.
Hey, but what about Elizabeth Debicki as Kat?
Good role.
Could have
Good
been
role.
replaced or did a great job.
I mean,
I think
there were
yes
a
to-
number of actresses that could have done
Yes
that
to
role.
both of those.
Yeah,
I think she
I
did a
agree
good
with
job,
Russ.
but she
Both.
could have been replaced too.
Yeah.
agree
I don't
with
know.
Russ.
Not stunning. Like, I don't know. I feel like there should have been an extra level,
That was
but she was a
probably
little
the-
too cut off for the first half. You've got her. And then the fact that she would try and kill her husband, the guy saves him. And then she's not like, I'm fucking out of here. Fuck you, assholes. There, I was like, I feel like you'd have a bigger reaction to, I mean, he was dead. That guy was unconscious, face down in the water. She was free. and then you're just like, oh yeah, you saved him. You're a jerk. I thought you were on my side.
Yeah, the biggest plot holes in this movie are that, and the other thing I think is just the chemistry of her and an unknown main character.
I mean, her and Branagh is like, I don't see this.
No, I mean that fit with the abusive nature of the relationship. I think like when he starts beating her, and he takes her into the room, and they got the guns,
The
and she's
cufflinks,
like,
the
you know,
cufflinks with the belt.
yeah, and all.
I mean, how many times
yeah.
have you seen a older, very wealthy man get someone like that? It's
Plenty,
real life right there.
plenty. Yeah. My question for you, Russ, would be how many pairs of cufflinks do you own?
I don't
And
wanna
where
say.
is Sonia?
Portugal.
Yeah, right. Quick trip. Fun fact about this movie and COVID. This movie got delayed by COVID. Remember when it was supposed to come out
Yeah,
and then it got delayed? This
substantially.
is the first big release in theaters after COVID. Now that's in 2020. Here we are in 2022. Are we after COVID? Is that the era we're living in? Because
I
I
think they
feel
call it-
like I hear about COVID every fucking day.
Well, no, but they're working on replacing it with the monkeypox.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Did you guys hear about the pill thing though? Like it's actually being used and it just works?
No.
Plan B?
You heard it here, folks.
Fucking-
The COVID cure pill that was developed like 3 months ago is now being distributed, and it just
Got to
works
top
perfectly.
people on it. It's very good. Everybody agrees. It's one pill, one and
Everybody
done.
just- Well, no, it's not what you have to take it every day, but
the fuck, dude. The pharmaceutical companies are raping us, and we're just bending over and saying, "Yes, please, sir. Can I have?"
Hey, let's
some
talk about
more?"
Tenet.
Hey, wait. Why don't we start a Tenet to go back and regulate those pharmaceutical companies? All right. Fun facts. The second famous person, kid in here, in the turnstile when they do the car chase, they're helped out by Pattinson calling in Ives and the team of operatives that come in, right? Which I thought was a ballsy move to introduce like a third string character an hour and a half into the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which was
I
really
like,
solid. Was a really solid third string character, though.
right. Do you know who that is? Like, that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's Kick-Ass. Is Ives.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Quicksilver from the Avengers: Age of Ultron is Ives in this.
What?
Yeah, doesn't that blow your
that
fucking
beard
mind?
throws it way off.
Yeah, I'm
Way
like,
off.
not once did I watch this and think it was that dude. I thought it was a guy I've seen in Scottish shit 100 times.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, dude, that beard. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that guy could have grown a beard like that.
Right.
Like,
Well, he
had to be
probably
he had to
it's
be
probably
two-
fake. It's movie magic, Joe.
2 years.
The chick though, where he tells him give him the rundown so he can get inverted, and the chick who goes through all the stuff with him, the protagonist,
Yeah.
her name is Fiona Dourif,
Honest.
and she is the daughter of Brad Dourif, Grima Wormtongue / Chucky.
All right.
That's his kid.
Nice.
Christopher Nolan, given back to the acting community.
Christopher Nolan, I'm telling you, dude, it doesn't miss a beat.
Worm tongue.
Both in the
I don't-
plot and in the casting.
I don't think I'd be excited about Worm tongue being my dad.
Well, no, but Chucky.
No, I mean, no, but he's fucking dude. He's been around forever. He's done a ton of shit.
Yeah.
But that's what you remembered him by. That's the first thing you said.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, think of it. You're as his daughter. I'm sure she's gotten to say to him, your words are poison more than once. And that's a win. That's a parenting win. I'm telling you. This is, I've only got a couple more of these. First Nolan film since The Prestige that Hans Zimmer did not score. It's because he was off doing a passion project, Dune 2021's. Click the link up here. We did review of that movie.
Not a smart
I think we
move,
talk
Hans.
about Zimmer and the fact that you can
I
hear him
don't-
farting in the
No,
microphone at one point.
Not a smart move, Hans. Should have done this
I do
one.
not remember the soundtrack from this movie, actually.
Yeah.
It wasn't very dynamic. They did a lot of sound effects to kind of conceptualize the ideas and the moments. I didn't feel like it was well done.
You know what movie revolutionized sound for the next 5 years? Inception.
This is true.
Every movie after that was just like, burn. Ship horn.
Yeah, right. Dude, I got Nolan. Yeah, I figured out that out. This movie actually does a good job of only touching that. It doesn't do, but like think of Batman where it's just quiet. Yeah, it's yes.
See, but I felt like Batman did a good job of bringing it back to the Star Wars thing. I couldn't help but feel that Star Wars vibe every time they did the little sequence with the Batman. I really enjoyed the Batman soundtrack.
Yeah.
And probably one of
Me
the only
too.
redeeming qualities.
The
of
first
that
one with
movie.
Michael Keaton, all Prince. Is that what
No.
you're talking about?
Of course.
I know,
Or
but
Kiss from
I
a Rose on number 3.
as good as it was though, the soundtrack on Dark Knight was still better.
There's no Seal or Prince on The Dark Knight, so I don't think so. The score maybe, but soundtrack wise,
Okay, the score. What? Shut up, Ben.
This movie was severely lacking in the soundtrack. That's probably my biggest complaint with this movie was the soundtrack. And
they could have had lots of Def Jams.
Could have done way more with it.
Dude, I thought when they first go through the roundabout, why not play Yes's Roundabout? It would make it a much more like lighthearted.
Round and round.
There you go, Rat.
What about you spin me right round, baby, right round?
That'd be good. You could do a whole series of cuts of just those scenes with music scored that pertains to the roundabout.
Yeah, wasn't not a good soundtrack.
I bet I could invent something that just closes as it turns in a circle. Wonder if
Yeah, I bet you a lot of people could probably just it's called a lazy Susan.
I mean, you want me to incorporate it into your patio doors, Russ? I got you.
No, I'm good.
Like you can live Tenet every time you need to barbecue.
Just go out there and walk backwards to the grill, and suddenly the chicken's done before I got there.
But don't forget the series of time where you've actually got to put the chicken on the grill. Just keep that in the old brain pan, and you're good.
The most impressive thing about this movie for me was the camera work and just the way they managed to seamlessly integrate forward and backwards movement.
Yeah,
was astounding. I can't help but think about it for the bullet scene that Ben talks about, like where you had to drop it first. That's really where you first get an in-depth view of how that all works. And the culminating final scene for me was just fucking brain candy. Watching all of that play out, like the Hummer driving and the explosions going into the ground in front of it. Like, I mean, I fucking loved everything about that. The fucking choppers coming in backwards, the choppers going out forwards, the
sensation when he first
out to attack and the other group is running in and they're dragging all their casualties. Like, what kind of a mind fuck was that, dude?
Him first coming out of the container and moving inverted through the world, the sense of unsteadiness they give you as he's like, the walking's not quite the same, driving is for sure not the same. The whole splashing the puddle thing I thought was a little weird. Like you just had to throw something in there. We get it
again. That's one of the scenes that Christopher Nolan was just like, wait, I gotta make my point.
That's
they
right.
need to understand.
Here's where we hook them and get them really confused.
No, I loved it all. Like as they're flying into that scene.
Did you like that?
Yeah. As they're flying into the scene and you see the Humvee backing up to the explosion site. The explosion sucks back into the Humvee's back. Like, Yeah, no, I mean, you watch this movie and it's like fucking, it's like Shrek, dude. It's like an onion. There's so many layers. You
Yeah.
just,
And it's just fun. Again, great locations. It's pretty to watch. Fun stuff. And I think at the end, almost every time you watch it, you're almost like, I think I get it just a little bit more. He goes on to form Tenet. Just spoilers.
yeah, I mean, shocking.
That happens way after the movie. Anyway, that's all I got to say on it. You guys have any closing points about, I guess I realize as I'm talking this that a giant turnstile that makes you go backwards in time, not dumber than an imaginary Xbox that you travel through consciousness with.
Fucking
It's not.
hate you.
It's
why,
not.
Why are you the way that you are?
They're
It is.
equally as ridiculous.
How are we friends?
They're equally
I
as
don't
ridiculous.
understand.
I got something else to say. When we talked about history of the world, and I gave it this terribly low rating, and then as we reviewed the movie together, I had so much fun that I brought my rating up. I'm gonna lower my rating to a C-. This movie sucks. I hate it talking about it.
Oh my god, you hated
Jesus.
talking about it.
Dude, hearing you say you loved the ending, I was just like getting a headache.
What? The ending's great.
No, I don't even want to. I don't want to be that guy.
Why?
To have a
End
movie
the
that
show.
You think he should have let
End
her
the
kill
show.
the cat?
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. Like literally out of all of the movies I've seen in my life, which are not nearly as many as Ben and probably not as many as Russ, because you guys worked at Blockbuster.
Russ didn't
But-
watch movies.
No,
To
I only
have a
rented video
movie come
games.
to an end that both wrapped up so many loose ends and at the same time proposed so many new beginnings so
Yeah, and-
flawlessly
yeah,
was I mean you just this movie is really 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 fucking good.
I everything you're saying to defend it is totally fine. I just really hated watching everything backwards. It just seemed like I just want to use this special effect as much as possible. I'd like just shoot the missile forward and say it was thought of in advance or like in the future. And because of that, no, I didn't need to see everything in rewind so much. It was annoying. Like, and I don't think that as sci-fi as this movie wants to be, I don't think that that's how it would ever be perceived if time travel was a reality. It would not be this reverse thing happening in real time.
Well,
It
no,
was
I mean
just-
that's another part
Why
of
not?
science that no, that's
Why
another,
not?
That's another part of science that Christopher Nolan completely abandons in telling the story is the theory of the paradox. Like the minute there's a paradox created in the common knowledge based on sci-fi canon, is if you create a paradox, that timeline ceases to exist. So, like, none of this could have actually happened. The first time there was a paradox created, that timeline got up, nipped off the bud, and the rest of the timeline kept going.
Yeah, well, it's a movie.
A good movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I just
You should
didn't
be.
like it.
You should be.
I want to go back and watch History of the World again. I never want to watch this movie again.